Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video back on Bitcoin. A little bit of stuff going on, and a lot of technicals to look at to why this dip was nothing to worry about, and we've already seen the recovering over almost 50,000 or over 48,000. We've got it right here, 48,074, and for these levels, massive level B at 47,000. This was, I mean, you can see massive resistance in the past here, turned into pretty good support. So now, hopefully, should we go back down to there, 47 should be a strong support. But we're trying to get over 49.3-ish to get over this other massive level, which had lots of resistance at it. And then we just got 50K as the last one until there's no more resistance to go up to 58, 59,000 ish. So a lot of people wanting to be in a bear market and wanting this so bad, but it's just not looking to shape up that way. And we've got Cathie Woods here talking about Bitcoin. She's been bullish on Bitcoin for a long time. She's been a proponent of it, really liked it, and has gotten a really good name for an investor for her calls with Tesla that everyone called her crazy for, and she was spot on, and it's actually well exceeded what she said it would do. But you can see what she says here as to why Bitcoin will reach $500,000 per coin.
If we're right and companies continue to diversify their cash into something like Bitcoin, and institutional investors start allocating 5% of their funds towards, I'll just say Bitcoin for right now, because we did that, we framed it for Bitcoin, could be for other cryptos as well. We believe that the price will be tenfold of where it is today. So instead of 45,000, over 500,000.
So you can see from that, just she runs her own numbers and taking institutional investors, putting 5% into Bitcoin, just 5%, that would be enough to push Bitcoin over $500,000 per coin. And what we can actually look at too is Bitcoin being available to more people with this type of news right here, with Fidelity urging the SEC to approve a Bitcoin ETF. The Bitcoin market has matured, and obviously that 5% figure becomes a lot easier to achieve and maybe even exceed with an ETF, because that would just make or open up the door to Bitcoin to a lot more people and companies who can't necessarily go either directly into Bitcoin or can't go into like the GBTC trust, or don't want to buy like MicroStrategy stock and just call it indirect exposure to Bitcoin. They just can't do those things. An ETF opens that market up to a lot of people to be able to flood in. And Fidelity, obviously, one of many people who are pushing for this ETF. And if we compare this to gold, you can see this is the chart of gold. The first gold ETF launched here, and I mean, the price exploded. Absolute parabolic move. And gold is less scarce than Bitcoin. So if you were to put this in here and say the demand for Bitcoin skyrockets, there just isn't that supply there. Gold, isn't as scarce as Bitcoin, and because Bitcoin's more scarce, this move that we saw in gold here could be, dwarfed compared to what Bitcoin could do. And I think what Bitcoin would do, as soon as an ETF is launched, so much demand will come in, and the supply is a fixed supply. So as supply is known, demand, if it skyrockets, then the price has to reflect that demand. And talking about price, an interesting thing that I've been looking at for a while now and kind of tracking with Bitcoin is the hash rate of Bitcoin and how it just really correlates with the price of Bitcoin. It's actually kind of ridiculous how accurate it is. I mean, we saw this collapse in Bitcoin. This is the price, or the collapse in hash rate there, and this collapse in price happened. And then right here is when, stuff started to recover. Bitcoin started to come back, and you see that was July 20th, and this is July 20th when the confirmation that the hash rate is recovering, starts absolutely rallying. We see a little dip and then a return to recovery. Same thing here, dip, return to recovery. It's kind of crazy how accurate or how close the hash rate is kind of projecting what the price is going to do. I definitely look at the hash rate as a leading indicator. As it climbs, the price usually climbs after, or if it falls, the price usually falls after. And then depending on outside news and all that stuff, things can affect it. But overall, in a normal, no ridiculous news like Tesla accepting Bitcoin or Tesla not accepting it anymore, and FUD wars and all that, usually the hash rate is a good indicator of what could happen with the price of Bitcoin. And then this is the two put over each other, so a little bit easier to see without going back and forth. But this just shows, like, you can see the blue line here, most of it. It just goes straight up recovery, and you see once it started recovering, we had a little bit of a delay in the price, which would be normal if this is a leading indicator. This got confirmed that it is recovering, and the price started to rally with it. And you see like the dip and up. It is kind of insane how accurate it is actually being. And in more technical news, we have the golden cross happening. This is these two moving averages crossing each other and is going to lead to an explosion price, is what's believed by a lot of people. And, I think it will. The last time we saw this golden cross, Bitcoin was about $10,000, and it did a 6.5x. It went to $65,000 roughly. So right now, if we say that golden cross is at 47,000 and we do 6.5x, that would be a $305,000 Bitcoin. If the exact same thing happened. Obviously, you can't say the exact same thing's going to happen, but if it does, we're looking at well over a six-figure Bitcoin. And the last real piece of data or on-chain analysis stuff that is really good to see is the number of addresses holding zero point 0.1 coins. Just reached a 4-month high. 0.1 coins is roughly $4,800 at the price it is right now, so a decent amount of money. And you can see this whole thing. So the gray line's the price, the yellow line is the addresses holding 0.1 or more Bitcoin. You see the price kind of dips here and comes back and kind of recovers with no major dip besides right here. And then we see the collapse in price start to happen, and then these addresses start to panic sell, most likely short-term holders, people who are newer to Bitcoin overall. This really plummets with the price. And then as the price kind of stabilizes, starts to climb back up. And the interesting thing we're seeing right now is this major dump from the 52 to flash crash to 42, which isn't really shown here, but flash crash down there didn't affect these holders. So maybe we're starting to see the market and people who are involved in it start to mature a little bit, start to realize that this is a volatile market, and the easiest thing to do, and history has shown, is just hold your Bitcoin. So that's a good sign that this flash crash didn't scare anyone off, and it still continued to climb and is climbing to challenge its all-time highs or previous highs here. And then along with the price, that's just going to reflect it. When Bitcoin's not on the market for sale, people are holding it. The price has to go up as demand goes up. So this is a good sign that short-term or people who were short-term holders or newer to the market aren't getting scared off by this volatility. This was a big day too. This was a 15% move or something. It was crazy in 10 minutes, and it didn't scare anyone off. So that's a good sign for Bitcoin as a whole. So we got Cathie Woods bullish on Bitcoin as usual, calling for that $500,000 Bitcoin. Fidelity trying to get the SEC to launch the Bitcoin ETFs, which I think are coming. Probably not this year, maybe within 2022. That's a better time frame, and maybe a little after, maybe even 2023. It could be a little ways away, but overall, these talks and companies wanting it out there is a good sign. On-chain data doesn't lie. People are still accumulating Bitcoin. They want to have it, and they aren't panic selling when these flash crashes happen. But as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.